Hey, and welcome to the Drubbing Stone podcast, a podcast where two friends raise a glass and have a conversation. I'm Nick.
I'm Kyle.
Kyle.
Hey, buddy.
Welcome to the second episode of the new year.
Incredible.
I know. Because last week we did our 2024 in review.
Yeah.
And this week we're plugging right along, man.
Yeah. 2025 in preview.
Ooh, and more 2024
viewed.
in review as well, somehow.
It's true.
It's the past, the present, and the future.
Yeah.
Commingling all at one time.
Man, psychotic.
Yes, and prescient.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Omniscient. No.
No, that works. Sure. Kyle, what are we doing this week?
All right, so this is a bit of a throwback. We had an episode last year.
Yeah.
At some point in time. I feel like it was around like...
early February.
Okay, I was going to say March. So
Yeah.
We did an episode on infinity bottles.
Yes, we did.
And at the end of that episode, we had the idea of, you know what we should do is put together an infinity bottle for 2024.
Yeah.
Put it together, and then at the end of the year, we should see what we got, see what we came up with. And that's finally what we're going to do
today.
What
we're doing?
Yeah. We've got our infinity bottles here in front of us.
Yes.
We've constructed them. We've labored over them. We've considered them. We've ruminated over them.
Ooh, yeah.
And we've put together these infinity bottles, and we're going to see what we have in front of us.
Yeah.
We'll discuss what we kind of put into them, what our thought process was, and, see if we got anything any good here. See if it's greater than the sum of their parts.
Or it's just a dumpster fire.
Or it's just hot garbage.
could be hot garbage.
Yeah.
I love this idea. When I think that was a digitally recorded episode. I feel like it was.
Might have been.
There was something like we couldn't get together, so let's talk about infinity bottles.
I think you're right.
And when you said that, I was like, why have we never thought about this? In almost 5 years of Drubbing Stone, how have we not thought about making a year-long bottle?
And it makes a lot of sense, too, just simply because like our whiskey collections tend to be very different from each other.
Very different, yeah.
Because you find stuff for the episode that you purchase, and I find things that I purchase for the podcast, and we try not to duplicate bottles very often.
We can, yeah.
So we end up having really different collections.
And it's really cool in that way, too, of like we both go through whiskey seasons. Sometimes those whiskey seasons merge, and we are simpatico. A lot of times they don't.
Right.
Where it's actually kind of cool of like, man, I am very clearly in a Scotch season right now, and you're like, yep, I'm back to bourbon.
Yep.
Like, oh, makes sense.
Yeah.
So that's going to be really interesting as well.
For sure. All right. So what we did was we kind of agreed to like the loose concept of putting in a pour every month.
Yep.
So then letting it build over the year.
Correct.
It wasn't a thing of let's put in 12 bottles right away and just let that sit. It was something that like, you put, we did 2 ounce pours.
Yep.
So you put 2 ounces in January, February, March, April, May, and then let it build up.
Yep.
And so new bottles would come into your collection. Some bottles would leave. And so it was just kind of like an overlapping or a just your collection of 2024 bottles as a whole.
Yeah.
You weren't restricted to like just one time of the year or anything like that.
Right.
So like I've definitely got bottles in mind that I only got within the last couple of months.
Yep.
You know? So we agreed to that. So there's 12 2-ounce pours in each bottle.
Correct.
It was like an interesting process of like thinking, what's your kind of philosophy on it? What are you trying to get to?
Okay.
Which I think is just like, I know for me, it was like I was trying to reach depth.
Interesting.
And not have it be like, a proof thing or I'm looking for a certain flavor thing.
Yeah.
It was just more like I would like to try to get as much depth out of it as possible.
Okay. So for me, my goal was I wanted to capture my whiskey journey of 2024.
Right.
And so I really, I've actually not had anything out of this bottle. I've not tried.
Not a single sip?
Not a single sip. I've tried nothing. I have you and I are going into this blind in terms of my bottle. I know you've tried some of yours, right?
I tried mine at 2 different points in the year.
Okay.
Once like at the end of April to see where I was at with it, and then once at the end of September.
Okay.
To see where I was at.
So I set that for myself. That was kind of a separate thing. Like, I'm not going to try this. I want to capture my 2024 journey in a bottle.
Right.
And I wanted to have it be north of 100. So that was a structure I put on myself. And I wanted nothing peated in this, which knowing me, it's actually very hard to do.
At this point.
Yeah, because I love me some peat. But the reason I put that is because I know how badly peat can just ruin an infinity bottle.
Right.
Or sometimes like,
It could be an interesting challenge.
It can be an interesting challenge. So like and I think we talked about this in the episode. I have a peated infinity bottle and a not peated infinity bottle.
Right.
Smoking and not smoky is what I call it, just because I want to keep those things separate.
Scotch specifically in those?
No, just a like the
I mean,
my
obviously
personal
with the peated one, yes. I guess you could have some.
Well,
Irish
there's some Irish whiskey in there. There's that Chattanooga did the peated barrel whatever, which was a bourbon, or I guess.
And you put that in there?
And I put that in there,
Interesting.
in the smoky. So that's why I don't say peated necessarily. I just smoky, not smoky.
Right.
And I'm okay with adding not smoky to the smoky, but not the other way around.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, I wanted to keep this not smoky.
Right.
So there's no peat in here at all. Those were the structures for me. Anything you're gonna ask me something?
Oh no, I was thinking like I don't think I have peat at all in mine, but there might be something in there. I'd have to go back and look
A little
specifically.
latent peat.
Yeah, well, it might just be something that like there's technically peat in it, but you don't get the flavor.
Dormant
for it.
peat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay. In that case, like technically, Bunnahabhain has a very light.
Right. That's
peat.
what I'm saying. Like
Yeah,
there
so,
might be.
What I mean is something like I didn't put heavy vapors or
Right.
anything in there.
Right.
Something like a Lefroy. No, it's not in there.
Yeah.
So anything extra you put on yourself?
No, like
Okay.
I mean, because I did do the tasting bits at 2 different points just to give myself a little bit of direction into what I wanted to go into it. I was like I said, I was trying to think in terms of flavor depth.
Sure.
There were a few times where when I was considering like, all right, what do I want to add in next? It was thinking like, all right, so you don't have a lot of let's say wheat in here. Let's maybe add in like that that wheat note to add depth.
Sure.
Or let's look at something more sherried and let's try to get that note to be present.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, that never entered my head.
It's never in the lexicon.
No, and I think like that's super interesting too, because obviously we're gonna get completely different bottles.
Should be, yeah. Although color wise, they're looking pretty spot on.
But it's interesting that like, okay, here are the loose structures, and then like we each kind of put some structures on ourselves.
Different restraints, yeah.
Here's what I think we should do.
Okay.
I think we should open both.
Yep.
Pour both, sniff them, sip them, and then talk about what we've put into it.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, that works.
Let's do it. So we each poured 2 ounces into Glencairns. And the reason, like, I think a 2 ounce pour, I would say that's a standard American dram pour, but it's also, for me anyway, keeping track of it, it's just easy numbers to keep track of.
Yeah, for sure.
Color-wise,
like, I mean, they're spot on.
Oh, yeah.
Almost exactly the same. To the point that, like, if you set these down and don't pay attention,
like we just did,
yeah, you're not going to know which one's which.
Correct.
But perhaps on the nose, perhaps on the palate,
we might be able.
There should be. I know for sure
know
what I've got.
Yeah, okay. You know what you have. I'm not sure.
Like, hold yours up. Just guessing. I think this one's mine and that one's yours. I think mine has a slim shade darker.
Okay.
Like half a shade darker.
If that's the case, then yes, this one is.
That one looks like
just
it's a little
tad bit darker.
I know what I've got, and
Sure.
that's what it looks like to me here.
Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool though. That like again, 24 ounces in these infinity bottles, and you've got a pretty even match color wise.
Right. Yeah. It's definitely not light. I mean, it looks like bourbon.
Yeah, it does. It's definitely it's not Scotch.
Yeah. And I would certainly say like that's predominantly what's in mine.
Bourbon. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. On the nose.
On the nose. Yeah, it'll be interesting to dive into what's in the bottles.
Yeah.
Because like there is definitely a difference on the nose, and I'm assuming on my end, I don't know, but at the same time I don't know what you've got.
Right.
So I don't want to say something
yeah.
and be totally absolutely wrong.
All right.
But I feel like
on the nose for yours. I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
On the nose for yours, I get just very quintessential heavy bourbon notes.
Yep.
And yes, I now know that obviously yours is predominantly bourbon.
Yeah, I'm going to stop talking about what's in mine.
Yeah, okay.
Until we get there.
Don't give me any more.
Stop tipping my hand.
And I honestly don't think that's influenced me at all. It feels very vanilla. There's some really beautiful chocolatey things going on in there.
Right.
Not quite milk chocolate, but not like a dark chocolate either.
Yeah.
Like somewhere in the
I'm getting that cordial,
medium chocolate. Oh, cordially
note.
There's a bit of proof
Chocolate
here
fruit.
too. I don't know where you are proof wise. I can tell you exactly where mine is proof wise, and I'll tell you how I know.
Right.
But I think there's a little bit of proof here.
Yep.
I'm getting some really beautiful barrel.
Ooh.
Little bit of char.
Yeah. I mean, it's A really pretty nose.
It's really pretty. And I know that you already said this, but there is some depth here.
Right.
Like it's not bright. And I'm not saying like, I don't want to equate bright with not being complex because that's not the case, but there's some broodiness of the nose.
Yeah, it is a darker nose. There's not much bright. There's not a lot of, I don't get a lot of citrus.
No, I was going to say no floral, and that's not true. It's like dried floral to me.
Yeah, it's like potpourri-ish.
Yeah. Yes, but like not like that fake potpourri that you get at grandma's house.
Right.
Like literally dried flowers. Like these are just like you go to a fancy cocktail bar and they'll put like a dried, orange slice or dried flower or something like that. That's what it reminds me of.
Right.
It's those notes, but like just give me some more depth there. Oh yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, fantastic. Okay. So are we going to nose the other and then come back to sip? How are we doing that?
Yeah, let's nose them both.
Okay. Got a little bit of yard work going on outside.
Yeah, it's still Florida. Although, you heard about that day we're going to get hit?
I did.
Oh, my God.
It's not a Drep and Stone episode unless we talk about the weather.
Shit. But yeah, this is different, man. Like, this is weather like Florida ain't seen in
Correct. Actually,
40,
in terms
50
of like
years.
recording, it should be like a next week in terms of...
when this episode comes out?
Yeah, it's...
Might be this day.
It might be. So... we'll see.
Yeah.
All right, on the nose for my infinity
Your
bottle.
infinity bottle.
Oh.
Yours, I get, is definitely more in a honey realm.
Honey's right. I keep saying ooh. It's not right. It's just, it's more...
It's very different.
It's very different. It's more medicinal.
Yeah, I go more into a honey and malt.
Honey, malt, and what's like a drying... like isopropyl alcohol. You know how like you smell
sure.
and it's like...
Right.
It's like very drying. That's
Right.
what this feels like to me. Wow. Yeah, there's definitely like... I'm going to say there's definitely not as much depth to this one as there is to yours.
Yeah, I get honey, malt, and orange peel.
Lemon pledge.
Lemon pledge.
And then sticking your nose all the way in there, like that's where I get some proof. That I do like.
Yeah.
But it's not like nose hair twingy. It's just like, ooh.
Well, and the more I'm digging down into it too, like the barrel, the oak is coming through.
Yep. I think nose wise, and I don't want this to be a competition necessarily, but I think like just it's gonna turn into a bit of one.
Sure.
I like the nose on yours way better.
Well, yours has already changed so much, and so like now that I've been smelling this one for a few minutes, I want to go back to mine and see now what does that one smell like coming off of this one, because this one's already changed a lot for me.
Yeah. Ooh. Nope. Now I like yours even more.
Ugh.
That nose is fantastic. That's delightful.
Whew. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
10 out of 10 on the nose for your infinity bottle here.
All right.
All right. Since we started with your nose,
Yep.
we should start with my palate.
Okay. All right. So, and specifically on yours,
Uh-huh.
not to get into too much detail, but you said you never tried it.
Nope. Never tried it.
So then what was a bit of your bottle picking philosophy?
Bottles that were not smoky, bottles that
Just that you liked it, want to put
I
it in?
had, I liked it, and I feel like represented the whiskey journey.
Gotcha. Right.
So
right.
I say that like I bought some really cheap bottles over the year. Those didn't make it in. These are bottles that like I love drinking that bottle.
Yep.
And that represents my journey this year.
Yep.
Yeah.
That moment in time, that bottle's speaking to me.
Correct.
You're going in.
Yep, absolutely.
Gotcha.
In order to keep it above that 100 mark, they had to be 96 or above.
Sure.
In order to make sure that I all
Yeah.
kind of...
I mean, I can say there's
Yeah.
not a bottle in mine that's below 96.
Yeah.
And I've only got 2 in there that are under 100.
Okay. Palette on my infinity bottle. Oh.
Mm.
Oh.
Man, that's pretty.
Wow.
Man, first sip, I would still say like it matches the nose pretty well.
It does.
Like
It does.
is malty forward. It's honey forward.
Mm-hmm. But to me, the viscosity of it and the proof bite is like, boom,
And like,
spot on.
I don't know if it's just like I haven't been drinking a lot of neat whiskey recently.
Yeah.
But it is sweet.
It is very sweet.
Man, it is like I'm almost like how much sugar did you add into this?
Yeah.
Did you already put simple syrup?
It's
in it?
very sweet.
Is this just like a batched old fashioned?
It's honey sweet too.
Yeah, delightfully sweet. Like I mean, it coats your palate.
Yeah, it really
like
does.
as if you literally did just like pour honey in your mouth.
Breathe out a little bit, and you get like all those really depth of bitter that I think really complements very well the sweet that's there.
Yeah, it to me it's very reminiscent of like just biting into an orange when you're trying to peel it. So you're getting a lot of that kind of pith. And the zest and everything.
There's some really nice spicy notes though too.
Yeah, a little bit of spice coming through. Can I ask? Is there a fair amount of rye in here or not much rye?
We'll get to it.
Okay. Like I'm already thinking. Like this to me in my head is pushing me more into a wheat category.
Sure.
I don't feel like it's a lot of rye. Certainly I think there's some in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, nah, man. You've got a hell of a blend here.
That's fantastic.
That's absolutely delicious.
I gotta tell you, like, not that I was worried, but when I smelled it, I was like, oh God.
It is.
I don't know.
But I think it was just like off the two.
Sure.
It was different. But yeah, no, man. Palate on this is delightful.
I'm impressed. I'm not shocked just knowing what's in here, but I'm impressed that like it commingled so well together.
Yeah. And like to me I don't really feel like it tastes disconnected. Like that's kind of what I might be worried about on mine.
Interesting.
Is that in trying to reach so much depth, it might not have married together very well. And you may taste different things. Like, oh yeah, like there's, if you had Coca-Cola pickle juice and vinegar in a glass, you're like, yeah, no, I can taste all of those things individually, but they don't come together.
Little brown mustard shooter.
This I say no. Like this, I think all blends really well and becomes its own individual thing.
Agreed.
Not knowing what's in it, but like you could convince me that like this is just delightful as is.
I went to MGP and picked me a couple barrels and threw them together.
Yeah, here it is. Boom. I love that about this is that you'll never be able to create that again.
No, I won't.
Like I know I finished some bottles that I've got in mine. So like even if I wanted to go back and like Frankenstein this back together. It's not going to be the same. Like I just don't know that you could ever create the exact same thing again.
I mean, obviously we wrote them down, and if we really wanted to, we could find those bottles, sure. But like, okay, that gets into some nerdy stuff of like.
Well, I would say disagree. Like I think I've got some single barrels in there.
Well, that's what I was going to say. So if we've got single barrels in there, or the real nerdy stuff would be, let's say you threw some Talisker in there, and that bottle's been open for a little bit, since the beginning of the year, let's say. That bottle will have changed than if you just pop a new bottle and pour it in there. Minimally, sure, but that will change ultimately the final product.
Right. Well, and like, I think I've got some single barrels in there, and I think I've got some limited release bottles in there.
Right.
Like, it's going to be really hard to ever recreate that exact thing.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah.
All right, let's move to yours.
Mine's definitely more in a rich arena.
Rich.
Very rich.
Okay, if you were going for depth, I think it's there. Like it's rich, it's dark, and even on the nose, when I said brooding before, it's still brooding.
Yeah.
It's very coffee-esque, like the flavor profile of like a dark roasted black coffee. It has those in there. There's some really beautiful spicy going on.
Yeah, I was gonna say my second sip is
like
90% spice.
Wow.
It's still like grabbing my tongue.
Wow. No, I really I love that. Like, ooh, I get a little bit of a 2024 Kyle Infinity bottle hug. Oh, hold up.
Gut punch.
It's thinner than mine.
Sure.
Which is weird because I think like the depth and robust of the flavor is up, but the viscosity is lower. So the finish, like that spicy finish is going for days, but the viscosity aspect of it, I think, is thinner.
Yeah. It is very like front of the palate is still very rich and like dark chocolate and brown sugar and molasses and stuff up front.
Yes.
And then that is absolutely taken over by this like spicy quality towards the back end.
Yep. I almost wish there was a bit more sweet on that front end to combat the richness. Because like it is like a very decadent dessert.
Right.
Where you get something that's like, whoa, that's all those flavors are amazing. That's a lot.
Yep.
If you're going to tell me that there's not a whole lot of rye in here, I'm going to be gobsmacked because like my guy, there's got to be like, this is half rye.
Right.
Like there's no way this is not half rye. like holy crap, there's so much. And like rye in terms of like spicy rye, not like cinnamony rye.
Right.
Because there's no cinnamony. It's just like dark black pepper spice.
Yeah.
I think yours, the proof comes out more on the palate.
I'm going to have to do some side-by-sides now and just kind of go back and forth between them.
Okay.
And see what they do. Because, like, I've got so many questions. I'm really interested to see where our proofs are at.
Yep.
And, like, I mean, I granted, I took a little bit out of mine, but they were like half-ounce pours.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to shape it a little bit, but it's not going to, like,
but I can still average up my proofs.
It's not going to change it crazily.
Essentially where it was at.
Sure.
But, yeah, now I just need them to, like, talk to each other.
Yeah.
And see what they're doing.
Well, you want to talk about them, let it sit for a minute?
And then we can just, like, let them fight for a
Yeah,
minute?
yeah. Okay.
All right. How about we do this? How about like let's start with like some stats.
Okay.
How about you hit me with your proof, and I'll tell you what's in mine.
Okay. My proof comes in at 106.5.
Crazy.
Crazy. What's
It's
yours?
just funny that we're that close.
Oh, how close are
Mine
we?
is
What's yours?
108.7.
That's really funny.
You know?
Yeah. That's pretty good.
And I mean, and I think it was not surprising to me at all.
No.
Because
No,
I
no,
think proof for both of us is a sweet spot of somewhere between 100 and 110.
Agreed.
You know,
Agreed.
once you jump over that and you get really into the high proof, fantastic stuff. It's really great. But like sweet spot right there. So it doesn't surprise me that we're within like 2 proof points.
Yeah, and here lately, I found myself when I'm hitting something that's 110 or above, I'll add a drop or 2 of water.
Yeah,
I'll try it.
I'll chuck a cube in there.
Yeah, I'll try it just to remind myself what's going on. But I have no problem. Just a little bloop bloop.
Yep.
Good to go.
Yep.
Yeah, that's really funny that we're.
What was yours? 106.
106.5.
0.5. So yeah. 2.2 different.
That's really funny. I'm tracking everything with the Infinity Bottle app, which I really have come to like. I don't have the premium version; it's only like $2, but the premium version gives you a whole bunch of like nerdy stuff,
right?
Which I like nerdy stuff, but for this purpose, I just
gonna say for $2.
Yeah,
seems like right up your alley.
You're not wrong.
I'm keeping all mine with the pen and paper app.
I see that.
Yep.
I'm surprised. I'm proud of you for keeping that sheet of paper for an entire year.
Yeah. It's seen some stuff.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah,
I bet.
It got some
stains, some crosses out.
It's got some whiskey on it, for sure.
So obviously we each have 24 ounces, or had 24 ounces.
Yep.
What else do you want to know before I tell you all my individuals?
You got the whole list there. Is it pretty easy to see?
Yeah.
All right. How many bourbons are in your bottle? Just straight bourbons.
Straight bourbons. 1, 2, 3. I got 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've got 3.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow. What?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm surprised as you are.
I thought you said this was more bourbon forward.
I thought it was. Now that I'm looking back at it,
okay.
Clearly that's not the case.
All right.
All right. How about rye?
I have a single rye. You've got like 14.
14 out of 12.
Yeah.
4.
Okay.
I got 4 ryes.
I'm not surprised by that. Just how spicy that thing is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It checks out.
Yeah, that does make some sense. Okay.
Quarter rye.
You got any Irish?
I have a singular Irish.
So do I. A singular Irish.
Cool. And then Scotch.
Yeah, I got the rest of Scotch from
Yeah, the rest of Scotch.
Yeah. Well, not quite true. I have an Australian whiskey in there.
Oh,
Yeah,
I know
yeah,
what you got
yeah,
in
yeah.
there. Good call.
Scotch, I've got 1, 2, 3.
That's your 96.
4, 5, 6. I've got 6 scotches.
And an Australian.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So I've got.
I wonder if that math works out now that I've said that out loud.
I don't think so. Maybe it does. Yeah, I only have 3 scotches. I do have an American single malt.
Fair.
As an odd category.
Yeah. Okay.
Interesting.
That is cool. That's cool.
That's honestly fascinating. So, all right. So, from what we just said there, yeah, it does seem like mine is rye first.
For sure.
Rye was
For sure.
4. I should have been writing all that down.
Yeah.
Rye was 4. I had 3 scotches, 3 bourbons. So that's already 10. I had 1 American malt and 1 Irish.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my 12. Fascinating. And I would say like a decent, blend.
Agreed.
It wasn't really anything forward.
Yeah.
I mean, 4 ryes. Granted, but
okay, you mean like in terms of the breakdown? I'm going to say like flavor profile,
pretty balanced.
Flavor profile. Those ryes.
That rye stands out.
That rye stood out.
And like when you look at the proofs on the rye, it makes sense.
It makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. You want my rundown?
Okay.
All right. So this was in order added. Okay.
Yeah. So January
to
December.
All right. The Russell's Reserve Private Barrel Selection.
Why did you go there first?
Because I actually bought that bottle in November of 2023, but I didn't open it until January of 24.
Right.
So that was my first bottle that I opened.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to pick your brain here.
Yeah.
Like why did you pick that one first? Because I feel like that bottle, it's a Russell's Reserve.
Yeah,
Russell Reserve has
but
never sung to you.
But that's the one I actually like.
Okay.
That like I do like that bottle. I still have a little bit of it left, and that bottle I actually do like.
Like, yeah,
you're not wrong. Like the Russell's Reserve has never been something.
You've always kind of
that's the only one that I've actually had that I'm like, oh, I should have bought 2.
Right. Yeah, that's just really interesting in terms of philosophy going into it. Like I would have thought you would have started with a bottle that's like. I would have thought you would have started with Rare Breed.
Yeah.
No. I would have said, yeah, he's going to pick something that is like traditional try hard and true. Let's put that in there.
And again, because it was this is my 2024 journey.
Right.
And I thought about that. Yeah.
Cool.
Then I went with a Blue Spot.
Blue Spot.
Classic Lottie.
Classic Lottie.
The signatory vintage Linkwood.
Okay.
The Ardnamurchan Paul Lanois. The vintage Mortlock. The Bunnahabhain Eregnagrian. The Craig Alecky. A Blue Note Uncut Unfiltered. Old Grandad 114. Starward Nova. Actually, I think Starward Nova might have been earlier on. And then Whistle Pig also, I think, was earlier on too. That wasn't the last thing I added. So my order here is not actually legit. I don't know how that worked out. I don't know how it's organizing this.
I was either going to
say makes no sense.
Either your list makes no sense,
yeah,
because you couldn't have put the Paul Lanois in April because you didn't have it at that point.
Right. This list doesn't make sense. Huh. I don't know what happened here.
Either that or you all threw it all together yesterday.
I'm not sure what's going on.
So now I'm wondering, like, are you confident that you started with that?
Yeah, no, I am confident that
Okay.
I do remember that was my first pour. These others, I'm not super confident.
That's funny. Yeah, obviously there's no way.
There's no way.
There's no way
Like,
April could have been
I can't add
that
the
one.
Paul Lanois that I bought in June and April. Huh.
I knew it was going to be good. So when mentally, it was already.
I already bought that bottle. Yeah.
What I have in mind, which is funny because I would have thought we might have started off the same.
Oh.
Was my first bottle was Rare Breed.
Okay.
I put Rare Breed in, and again, that's where my argument comes in of like the Rare Breed bottle that is in there, long gone.
Oh yeah,
like that's
you'd
been
never
gone.
get that. But yeah,
there's no way to get that specific Rare Breed. Sure,
you can get a bottle.
You can get a Rare Breed, but whatever. Next was Redwood Empire, which is a rye, cask strength rye.
Yep.
Then I have the Red Breast cask strength.
Ooh.
I have Abalor Abanad Alba.
Oh yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Not just Abanad, but Abanad
The
Alba.
sherried one. Yeah.
The bourbon one.
Oh, the bourbon one. Just the Abanad's the sherry.
Is the sherry. Yeah. That bottle's long gone. And then that was where I tasted it.
Okay.
That was April. So then I tasted it, and then from there I went Buna Onclotic.
Okay.
Then I went
which is a little spice or a little peated. The Onclotic. No, the Onclotic
that was
wasn't
the travel
peated.
exclusive.
Yeah, the
it might
Vona.
have. That's what I was saying. Like it might have some peat in it.
I was thinking the Crook Vona is the one that's the peated.
Like same with the Ardent American cask strength. It's going to have a little bit of peat in there, but you can't get at it. Redemption Weeded.
Okay.
Put a little bit of Dripping Stone in there.
Yeah.
And then the Michter's Rye. Tasted it there. That was the Michter's Barrel Strength Rye.
So
again,
hold on. I just want to say, like, you're adding 2 already cask strength ryes into that thing. Like, no wonder.
Yeah. So then I also did the Holiday Soft Red Wheat.
Okay.
Then I did the Michter's BRT01, Midwinter's Night Dram, and Stranahan's.
The Maker's BRT.
Yeah, Maker's BRT01.
Yeah, you said Michter's.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Maker's BRT01.
Okay.
Midwinter Night Dram.
Ooh.
That's the other rye.
Yeah.
And the Stranahan's.
Okay, so the ryes that you put in there are all like heavy, like
except Midwinter. Midwinter's only 98.6.
No, but I'm saying like that's a rye. Like, they're all rye.
Yeah, it's heavy rye for sure.
Like not heavy cask strength necessarily.
Yeah.
It's like those are all punchy ryes.
But like the Redwood is cask strength, and what was the other one? There's another one in there. It's cask strength.
The Michter's rye.
Yeah, Michter's barrel strength.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so fun.
Yeah, isn't it? Just
That's
to see
so
like
cool.
what those blends create.
I love that.
Themselves.
I love that.
Yeah.
Have we started a new tradition?
I think we have to because this is
I feel like we have
really fucking fun.
Yeah, I agree.
Right.
I want to tell everybody that, or I'd love to bring it up to everybody to challenge themselves to do this as well.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, if you want to approach it like I did, where like you buy a bottle, just if you know your drinking habits and you're gonna buy a bunch of bottles, do an ounce pour.
Right.
Why not? Or sample a little bit here and there just to add it, or you could go your route where you're trying to kind of craft something,
trying to curate a bit, and like I almost kind of feel like in terms of my way of doing it, I'd kind of almost like to do that a little bit more.
Yeah,
maybe like each month, but then you start to you really almost can't do that.
Well, I think
because if you do a taste of it each time, that first bottle that's in there is that much less of it coming out, so it's going to have that much less influence.
Yeah,
It'd have to be larger pours.
Yeah,
I think.
You could do 3 ounce pours,
if you did like 3 or 4 ounce pours each time. You'd be better suited for that.
Agreed.
Yeah,
That's
super interesting.
so cool.
Yeah.
What a cool way to end 2024 and start 2025 as well.
Yeah, right? All right, now I need them to
Fight?
Yeah, well, just, let them have a conversation.
Okay.
They might start fighting, but I don't think that's in their nature.
It's so interesting to me going back and forth because, like, on the nose, yours is so much more bourbon forward, and you have less bourbons than I do.
Yeah, I know. I was going to say, like, I mean, knowing what I had in mind, nosing it, I kept wanting to say sherry.
Yeah.
Because I know that was something that,
okay.
was attempting to have that come forward in mine. And, like, looking back at them, at least 5 of my bottles do have a sherry influence on them.
Okay.
So I know that was something I was trying to get to be able to come
and I
through.
can see that in the depth aspect.
Yeah.
Because, like, I feel like, especially with a Scotch, you add that sherry note, and that gives you a lot of depth.
Yeah.
Can I ask? I don't know if this is a fair question.
Sure.
You're gonna have another pour of either of my infinity bottle or your infinity bottle. Which one are you gonna take?
If I was, oh man, it would depend on the situation. Honestly, like,
Agreed.
I feel like mine is more suited post meal, but it's also like it's a nighttime dram.
That I wasn't gonna say post meal, or sorry, I was gonna say post meal for mine and a nighttime dram for mine.
So like I feel like mine's definitely a darker, more like, it's dark outside. Maybe you're at a campfire. It's cold as hell.
Oh yeah.
Yours I feel like is more anytime. Just because it is so delightful and pretty, you could drink yours anytime.
Okay.
I feel like I could drink yours in summertime.
Yeah.
Like, it's just good.
So for
It's
me,
sweet tea, and
I thought about yours as like wake up that palate, like boom, hey.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it could be just be like, get the fuck up.
Yeah, exactly.
But
but I like what you just said, like sitting around a campfire, like post dinner, because you got all those like really bold, big flavors.
it's got to bust through whatever you've had.
Exactly.
And I feel like that one's complicated enough to do that, whereas yours is just more just like relax and chill and just,
well, I think our
sit back and
bottles
enjoy this.
mirror who we are as people. Like you're very robust. You're very like huge and big, and like you cut through all these things. And me, I'm very pretty. I'm very chill and relaxed. So they very clearly mirror who we are as people.
So we've put each other in the bottle so that we can chill with Drip and Stone. That's apropos. Like that's really well done.
Yeah. I agree with you though. Like I don't think I like one more than the other. I think that I would probably gravitate towards my bottle as an everyday sipper.
Yeah. No, well, I wouldn't even call it an everyday sipper, but I would gravitate towards yours more often. I just think it's
I think it's easier sipping.
I would say I would gravitate towards yours more often because I don't think it's as complicated.
Right.
It comes together. It's really well put together. It doesn't feel like a bunch of separate things trying to make a thing.
Yeah.
It is what it is, and it's great. Mine, I think, is a little bit more complicated.
Yeah.
And it's like you have to kind of like sit back and like dive through it more.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit more like, hard to understand. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the way I would say it.
All right. Final question.
I think they got to go together.
Oh, yeah.
This might be the solution to all of it.
As is
the true
the Drip
and Stone blend.
Yeah. Blending both of them.
2024.
We're adding them together, right?
I just did.
Okay.
Do you need a splash?
No, because I had just a little bit, so I just did a tiny little bit of it.
Oh, I got you. I see what you did.
Oh, the nose is already better.
I'm legit thinking like that might
be
something.
So we've got 24 bottles in this one pour.
Yeah.
That's cool shit.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy hell. And not a repeat.
Nah. I know.
24 individual bottles.
Yeah.
Not a single repeat because you didn't put rare breed.
No, there's no repeats in our whole thing. I didn't even think about that.
Man. Well, that's what I was saying. Like that's because like our collections are so different.
Oh,
we don't have very many.
God.
We don't have very many replicate bottles.
Dude, that's it. That is it.
Yeah.
It takes the spicy complexity of yours and the sweet prettiness of mine and just like brings one down and raises one up and just like equals each other out. That is fantastic. We couldn't have made that better if we actually planned it.
That's delightful.
I got a proposal. Here's what we should do.
Yep.
We're going to continue this for next year. But I think we should blend 2 ounces out of mine, 2 ounces out of yours, and blend them into the Stone 2024 bottle.
Yeah, we're gonna do a couple of those.
Revisit.
Yeah.
For next year.
Yeah, we need to do a couple of those because like I could totally see. All right, cool. 2026 is right around the corner.
Right.
2027's right
It's
behind
right
it.
there. Like we're basically at 2040.
Like, we need to have and be able to say
sure
that was the definitive Stone blend.
We can do it.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else on these though?
No, this is like started a whole new endeavor.
Agreed.
Like,
Agreed.
This is
I
fun as
I
hell.
challenge all the Stone listeners to do something likewise. Like just make yourself an infinity bottle and make yourself a year by year infinity bottle. Just take an old bottle. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. You don't have to go get a crazy decanter or anything.
No.
Just grab an old bottle.
I mean, you can.
You can, sure.
You don't have to.
Call our friends at Glencairn, have them make you a beautiful decanter.
Yeah.
Tell them that we sent you that way, just
Right.
so that they know.
Yeah.
They know, but like so that they know.
And it's gonna be real pretty.
Oh yeah, real nice,
pretty.
real nice, Clark.
Yeah.
But yeah, just grab an old bottle and just pour it up, blend it up, do the thing. You're gonna like what you get.
Yeah, for sure.
Because like at the very least, even if it's just a dumpster fire of a bottle, it's your journey over that year.
Yeah, shows how
so cool.
shitty your tastes were. For 2024.
It's just
the dumpster fire
it's just
that it
a whole
was.
another bottle of ancient age and benchmark.
Yeah, just blend after blend of ancient age, old crow, and benchmark. You're like, woo, that's good. That's real good.
Sure, old number 7. There was a lot of old number 7 in there.
Blah, blah, blah,
Ain't nothing wrong with it, but mixed with that ancient age. Woo.
Whole nother thing.
Yeah. On that note, you got anything else?
No, sir.
Nah, me neither. I want to finish my glass and maybe pour another.
There you go.
Yeah. And I hope everybody does likewise.
Yeah, totally.
Well, we'd love to know if you've done an infinity bottle. What was your infinity bottle philosophy?
Yeah. Like, what'd you get out of it? What was fun about it? What are you going to change going into next year's infinity bottle?
Great question. Great question.
Yeah.
And we'd also love it if you support the podcast. You can do so through a couple different ways. You can tell someone about Stone. You can rate us wherever it is you get great podcasts like this one. And finally, you can support us financially through Patreon. That's patreon.com/Stone. Keeps the lights on, the recording machines recorded.
Yeah, the bourbon flowing.
I forgot to say, you can get in touch with us. But you can get in touch with us through email. That's drepandstone@gmail.com.
Yeah, you can get in touch with us physically.
Yeah.
Just by touching us. Or digitally, you can
Through
send us an email.
Yeah. Or
you can reach out in social media.
And what's social media?
Man, I've been saying it for 5 years.
Yeah.
It's DREP and Stone. It's one word.
Okay.
And
it's still the same.
you find us somewhere,
Yeah.
wherever that's thing, whatever the new thing is, we're totally doing it.
Probably.
But,
We're
find
not,
us.
we're not on that blue sky yet, though, or whatever that new thing is.
Don't
We
even
might-
know.
Yeah, it's fine.
But
Anyway.
we got the AI going.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
it's keeping us up to date on everything.
Exactly. Yeah. Hey, buddy.
Hey, buddy.
May your glass overflow.
And your Dreppin' Stone ass never show. Cheers, buddy.
Cheers.